eggs. The officials are following up with any possible witnesses and looking into surveillance footage that can help them identify the perpetrator. The eggs are worth about $40,000. Police say the eggs were snatched from the back of a Pete and Jerry's Organics' distribution trailer Saturday night in Antrim Township, Pennsylvania. Immigration policy changes under the Trump administration are instilling fear in Pennsylvania schools as educators and advocates warn of their effects on students and families. Here's more from Danielle Smith.
Over 62,000 immigrant children are residents in the Keystone State. Kristen Rowe Finkbinder with Moms Rising says children are living in fear of family separation, and a terrified child in a classroom full of fearful children can't learn or thrive.
We're hearing from people that many children are terrified that if they go to school, their parents won't be there when they come home. That's no way to learn. We're hearing from people that many students, indeed whole classrooms, are terrified that their close friends who are students won't be at their desks tomorrow. None of this is okay.
Pittsburgh Public Schools website states that ICE requests to access students' information or school grounds must be reviewed by the district's law department and superintendent's office. ICE officials cannot access students without prior legal approval and required documentation.
This newscast is being brought to you by St. Barnabas. We will check your Beaver County radio weather forecast after this.
Let's face it, work is a large part of your life. Why not choose a job that allows the opportunity of a fulfilling career working with people who appreciate you? St. Barnabas Health System is looking for extraordinary, service-minded people to join our team. Earn and learn with career opportunities on our clinical, housekeeping, and food service teams. For more information and to apply, visit stbarnabashealthsystem.com or call 724-444-JOBS. Jobs that are apart from the ordinary. Find them at St. Barnabas Health System.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Cloudy today with rain likely through mid-morning. It's going to be breezy as well with wind gusts as high as 20 miles per hour. We'll see a high near 49. Cloudy tonight will drop down to a low around 27. Sunshine tomorrow, look for a high near 33 and a low around 22. And a slight chance of snow showers through early afternoon on Saturday, followed by a chance of a rain and snow mix. We'll reach a high near 44 and a low around 28. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
On this Thursday, February 6th of 2025, at 10 minutes after 7, we've got a temperature of 37 degrees currently in Beaver County. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Noah Haswell on 99.3 FM and AM 1230 WBVP, also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
Are you ready? It's time to find out what is on the mind of Eddie Crow. It's something to crow about on Beaver County Radio, 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP. Now, here's the host of the show, Eddie Crow.
It took a second. I want to take a deep breath because there's a lot to get to today. Good morning. It's 11 minutes after 9. It is the weather from American Werewolf in London. Foggy, wet, dreary, beware the moors. Today, for the first hour, it's Ask the Commissioners. Now, today it happens to be singular. Jack Manning in the room with me. And there's a lot of moving parts to things that are going to come up today. This is being live fed on our Facebook screen. Good morning, sir.
How are you, Eddie?
I'm good. How are you?
Always good to be with you and your listening audience. Obviously, I make this a monthly habit.
My mom likes you, by the way.
She does?
She does.
Really?
Yeah. Well, as much as she's going to... You know, that Manning guy doesn't seem like an idiot.
Yeah. So,
which in my family, that's high praise.
Okay, so she's comparing me to you, and this is why she
it's a phrase I've heard before.
Okay. All
right.
I appreciate it.
It's my understanding, and I know nothing. I'm going to go Sergeant Schultz with this until you explain. Am I about to be neighbors with the county?
Well, first of all, I mean, we're here every month, Eddie. So,
you're here every month.
You know what? Or whenever you call and you need us to be here. But, yeah, I saw or heard on your news clips there yesterday at the work session, Leonard Fidelis, our solicitor, did publicly announce that we have been in conversations with St. Barnabas, and we have a pending contract that I hope will be executed Thursday next week when we have our public voting session resolution to lease about 22,000 square feet right across the hallway there.
Right across the hall. And we've spoken of it on the air.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of room downstairs and upstairs, and that's great. How many problems did that solve?
Well, it
because
solved,
the previous deal, there was a lot of optical problems.
It helps solve three issues that we were facing, and one of those issues is very complicated and convoluted, and that's the contract that we have with the mines, with all the material and documents that are there, and that contract that'll be expiring in about a year and a half or so.
And that's where everything needs to find a new home from the mushroom mines.
And it's complicated because, we still don't have, although Maria Longo, our controller, and Maria, she's going to be on top of this, we allowed her to have access. There are 22 different department heads and or people that have something stored in the mines. That's
22.
The courts, the raw offices. There's 22 accounts there. And everybody has their stuff that's required by law, or there's no place else to put it, so we'll put it in the mines, kind of a thing. That's from the coroner to the sheriff's department.
Wait, the coroner's storing stuff that he doesn't have room for? That's mildly creepy sounding.
There are records. Death certificate. There is all kinds of stuff that has to be kept. Some in perpetuity. Some
why?
State law requires.
What needs to be?
I'm not well versed on each of those laws, but the courts have certain documents. There are certain deeds, certain court judgments, all kinds of things that have to stay there, and you need originals. Now, state law has been passed so that the certified PDFs now, the electronic versions are now accepted for a lot of this stuff that used to be paper only and had to be stored and kept. So that minimizes some of the stuff that has to be sent to the mines. But we also don't know how much is in there, could be shredded, could be disposed of as well. So that's why that first issue with the mines is very, very complicated, and we're sorting things out. So in the interim, we'll have this, contract here where anything we have stored still in the courthouse, which is full before they start to send stuff to the mines, will now come here, and then we'll eventually get around to figuring out how we can get this, what we need to get out of the mines, from the mines. That'll handle the document storage piece of that.
Are the mines basically that one weird junk drawer in your kitchen, but for the entire county?
I have never been there. 5 years, I've never been there. I've had no reason to go to it. I just know about it. I know the contract. I know the stuff. I know it's hard to retrieve stuff from there. There's probably old Friendship Ridge documents that are up there. We haven't owned Friendship Ridge for 6, 7, 8 years now.
Can we take a field trip?
You and I?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I want to see the logistics of what we're talking about.
My guess is we can't, because I know there's only certain people in the courthouse that actually have access into it. I'm sure they might let a commissioner in, but
how do they not?
I don't think my badge works for
You're going to get that part activated. Well, how could it not? You're a commissioner. You're in the midst of this big deal, and it's been a public deal because of the previous what was reported. Mm-hmm. You should at least be able to look at somebody's gonna have to haul everything out.
Well, I eventually, but again, they've given us the documents of how many boxes, how much space is being used. Where it is down there is less important to me than the fact of here's the volume of stuff we have. Here's how much we want to be able to pull out of there and maintain, and here's the amount of stuff that they can shred or dispose of, properly. So that's the one thing. The other issue is we have crammed all of the voting machines and all the election materials into our DPW building there. It has very specific security issues.
DPW the one down at Brady's Run?
Yeah, it's across from the tennis courts. Okay. The hazmat is the one that's next to the walking path. That's the hazmat building, but it's the blue building across from the tennis courts there. That's our DPW work area, where all our maintenance guys and maintenance stuff is done. So this space also allows us to then free up that space for DPW, which has been cramped for quite some time, and move all that stuff over there. And I think it gives a better, easier place for the elections folks and all the 129 precinct stuff and all the things that come with the elections. And the security, especially with the voting machines, there are very specific legal requirements for who has access, who can do that, when they're certified, when they're maintained, and all that stuff. And they'll be able to do that here. So I would like to see that stuff start to move by the end of the month, or as soon as
by the end of the month.
As soon as we're beginning of March. Okay. Yeah, I guess it's still early in the month. So yeah. We'll see.
All right.
But anyway, start that process, and I can't compliment J.D. Turco and St. Barnabas enough for finding a mutually beneficial solution to those two problems and helping us out with the space.
Did you get him to go in half on electric or anything?
we
have a dorm room.
I don't want to get into no dorm room.
Yeah.
But it does involve a garage door, so that when we make deliveries, we'll be able to have good access there, and then we'll be responsible internally for security and door access and cameras that they'll watch, because again, because of the sensitivity of the documents, and especially
for sure.
the election equipment, it'll be restricted use and well secured with cameras and stuff. Yeah.
724-843-1888. If you've got a question, you can ask the commissioner. Jack Manning is my guest this morning. It's hanging out in the Pride Transportation Group studio, coming up on 20 minutes after 9. Best case scenario, everything gets moved. We've all moved from one home to another. We think it's going to take a week. It ends up taking a month. Best case scenario, everything works. Everybody shows up on time. How long till everything is out of the mushroom mine? Because that's the main point, correct?
That is very hard for me to predict.
Okay.
It really is, because we have contractual obligations to them that don't run out until the fall of 26. So we'll have to work through that and figure out how that's going to happen.
Okay.
So there'll be 2 storage locations clearly close to the end of that contract and the start of this one. So it'll take a while. And if you're anything like me, I've moved 3 times, relocated 3 times, and there are boxes from my original house that moved with me twice that I still haven't opened.
Oh, good. So, you don't give in radio. So, you hang on to a good cardboard box, buddy.
So there's a lot to sort through. And again, when you're dealing with 10 different row offices, a lot of different departments, the courts, which we don't have direct purview over, and all of the legal ramifications they have and different stuff. I do know everybody understands and recognizes that digitizing these documents is the way to go, and you just can't be filling up mines and warehouses, with paper documents for perpetuity. There's some things for historical reference. You want to keep a hold of some old deeds, the recorder of deeds, stuff that goes back to 1800s and stuff. It's nice to have the original paper copies, though. They're kind of historic documents, and there's probably some of those kinds of things that are there that we can find, the right venue, the right place for. But a lot of that stuff that's just as easily retrieved off of a disk in a document is appropriate.
You said there are 22 departments that store things?
There are 22 accounts that we have.
Okay.
Yeah. And most of those are each of the independent,
does that mean there are 22 different people that you have to get aligned for this to start being executed?
Yes. Yeah.
Are all 22 people looking forward to this? Has there been any bristling?
I don't think there's any consternation on anybody's parts about it, just because it is a cumbersome process right now. If the courts or the pathonetary's office or Human Resources needs to retrieve a document. You've got to figure out where is the document.
Is it? Yeah. They
retrieve it, which is, every time they touch something, there's a cost to us. And then, you hope it's the right document when you finally get it in your hands. You go, that's not what I was looking for. So I think the other benefit of doing this way we're doing it, and if you know anything about Maria, she's very organized, very detailed. Everything that we eventually move there will be orderly and documented on the box, dispose of in 2030, or expires in whatever, or save, stuff. So everything will be organized in a way that it'll be much more effective and efficient for us to retrieve documents and also be able to shred or destroy documents that are no longer needed to be kept due to, the law.
What if one department or one account wants to keep something or feels like we have to keep it, and another account doesn't? This is like moving, Jack.
Yeah,
what goes with this? What do we pitch?
Yeah, I've been trying to downsize for the last couple of years here. My wife still has a different view of what's keepsake and what is
absolutely
from my standpoint. And I've got a lot of stuff that are memories of 50 years of work in people and locations and events and different stuff, and it's hard to part from some of that stuff. I don't know. With this, as long as there's space, as long as we have enough room, and I think we'll have adequate room, and this is all done. If some of those are nice to have, we'll have a little. Each of those 22 accounts will have. Here's your space.
Like their own version of a cubby.
That's what you get. You fill it up. You got to figure out what to get rid of.
Yeah.
Because you don't bring anything in unless you can take something out. When it reaches that point, that'll probably be the approach that people have.
Are all of the cubby spaces going to be the same size? I asked this preemptively because somebody's going to squawk that the other guy got more.
No,
Okay.
I don't think that'll be an issue. I don't think that'll be an issue at all. I mean, the controllers have a space, but we have very few things that we need to keep there. But Human Resources, who works for us, the assessment office, the DA's office, the detectives, the sheriff's department. I mean, all those folks have different volumes of stuff, evidence that has to be kept for a long time based on court cases, the coroner, death certificates, and those guys. You can imagine that some of that stuff can accumulate, and when you can't get rid of it. Somebody wants to open a case that happened in 1970.
Reopen,
gotta have the documents,
and
right?
you see that.
It happens all the time. You see those cold cases and those kinds of things. So if you don't have that evidence and those documents and those reports, it's pretty hard.
Jack Manning is my guest. The commissioner's talking about getting out of the mushroom mines and becoming our neighbor. So I got plenty more other questions about other stuff, but are you telling me that there's going to be an evidence locker in the same building as a radio station?
I don't know if we'll call it an evidence locker, but there's a good chance there may be some documents that are involved with criminal cases. Yes.
Coolest neighborhood ever. Radio station, church, and evidence locker.
Oh, there you go. You've got the trifecta there.
There's going to be okay.
Tune in to Beaver County Radio on Friday, February 14th from 10 until noon for a special Valentine's Day edition of The Time Machine with Eddie Crow, Frank Sparks, and Scott Tatey. The show is being presented by Rosalind Candy Castle in New Brighton and will celebrate the greatest love songs of all time from TV and the big screen. One lucky listener will win the grand prize of a heart-shaped box of Rosalind chocolates, 2 tickets to the Beaver County Maple Syrup Festival, a half pint of Pennsylvania Pure Syrup, and $100 in Pennsylvania scratch-off lottery tickets. Everyone who enters on our Facebook page or calls in during the show will be registered for the grand prize. Other prizes include gift cards to Zilke Sports Bar and Hallowed Grounds Roastery, as well as numerous chances to win $25 worth of Pennsylvania Lottery Valentine's scratch-off tickets. Special Valentine's edition of The Time is presented by Rosalind Candy Castle and brought to you by the Beaver County Maple Syrup Festival, Hallowed Grounds Coffee Roastery, Zilke Sports Tavern, Monroe Auto Body, the Latham team at eXp Realty, and Beaver County Radio.
Can the card you carry really change your life? It can when it's a low-rate Freedom United Federal Credit Union fixed-rate Visa card. This is Pat Tervail, and I'm the lady in the loan department with the big scissors. No, silly. I'm not doing haircuts, but I am going to use those shears to cut up those nasty high-rate store charge cards you're carrying around. Why, you ask? Because you won't be needing those cards anymore after you take advantage of Freedom United's low 6.99% rate balance transfer special. Good for a limited time on new money transfers to a Freedom United Visa card with approved credit. Potential money saved on lower monthly payments really can be life-changing and potentially put more freedom in your future. Visit Freedom United Federal Credit Union. Member NCUA Equal Housing Lender.
Looking for home services? Call Patriot Home Care in Beaver Falls. Their staff provides company, conversation, and companionship to all patients, ensuring medications are taken on time, participating in fun community activities, personal care, meal prep, and light household work are all services provided by Patriot Home Care, all thanks to the hardworking and selfless team members. Call Patriot Home Care at 724-506-8911 or stop in Patriot Home Care, 1225 7th Avenue, Beaver Falls.
It's hard to even put a title on what Tom Young at First Consultants in Beaver does. Calling him a financial planner or an insurance salesman or even a life coach still doesn't accurately describe the experience. That's because he brings dreams back to life or puts life back into retirement.
My job is to create in you the vision of the you that I think you can be, the place that I think you can get to. And you know what? I get frustrated because I see more greatness in people than they see in themselves. I see greater financial futures than they see in themselves. Most people don't believe they can get there.
Find out more by visiting firstconsultantsinc.com or engage in Tom Young's live simulcast presentation on the third Tuesday of each month beginning at 9:10 a.m. on Beaver County Radio and Facebook Live. All advisory services are offered through PL Wealth LLC. PL Wealth is a federally registered investment advisor. PL Wealth is in no way affiliated with First Consultants Inc., nor is First Consultants Inc. a registered investment advisor.
Your home for everything in Beaver County. 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP coming to you live from the all-new Fry Transportation Studios.
Beaver County Radio's news source. 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and BeaverCountyRadio.com. Here's Noah Haswell.
Good morning on this Thursday, February 6th of 2025. We will have a complete Beaver County Radio weather forecast after we take this look at news. The Beaver County Board of Commissioners announced a change in their plans for document storage. Here's Beaver County Radio's Curtis Walsh with more.
The plan for moving county document storage out of the Wampum mushroom mines was discussed once again at the Commissioners' work session Wednesday. It was announced that discussions between the county and St. Barnabas are taking place to lease space in the former Michael Baker building. The county says this would be a short-term lease to move the documents out of the mines and have time to determine what the best storage solution moving forward would be. The commissioners said they're no longer pursuing purchasing the former Beaver County Times building. From Beaver, this is Curtis Walsh reporting for Beaver County Radio News.
On Wednesday, a Beaver County recycling plant was spotted with smoke rising through it. According to Beaver County emergency dispatchers, emergency crews went to Freedom Conway Recycling on Crows Run Road in Conway for this incident. The initial report from investigators was that a dumpster fire occurred. There were no reported injuries, and that is all the details we have at this time. May 7th, 2025 is the deadline for those in Pennsylvania and around the United States to have a real ID. According to a release from AAA, here are some requirements for a real ID if you do not go to one of the 13 real ID centers in Pennsylvania. AAA states that you must have a proof of identity in either a valid passport or the original or certified copy of your birth certificate. The release also states that you need 2 proofs of your present Pennsylvania address, a proof of all legal name changes, and your Social Security card. You can visit our website at BeaverCountyRadio.com for more information. PennDOT is updating restrictions for vehicles due to the winter storm and cold weather in the state. Some of the roads that were restricted as of this morning include I-376 from Toll 376 to I-80, and I-79 from PA Turnpike I-76 to the end of I-79 North. You can visit our website at BeaverCountyRadio.com for a full list of restrictions on roads that went into effect both yesterday and this morning. Hopewell Senior High School hosted a unified robotics competition last week with over 100 students from schools around the area for the first time. The event focused on both robotics and coding, as robots were timed in a race and specific tasks had to be completed by the robots themselves through the coding of the students. Fields in STEM were also incorporated through the company Unified Robotics, while the school got support from local organizations such as CCBC and Penn State Beaver. Immigration policy changes under the Trump administration are instilling fear in Pennsylvania schools as educators and advocates warn of their effects on students and families. Here's more from Danielle Smith.
Over 62,000 immigrant children are residents in the Keystone State. Kristen Rowe Finkbinder with Moms Rising says children are living in fear of family separation, and a terrified child in a classroom full of fearful children can't learn or thrive.
We're hearing from people that many children are terrified that if they go to school, their parents won't be there when they come home. That's no way to learn. We're hearing from people that many students, indeed whole classrooms, are terrified that their close friends who are students won't be at their desks tomorrow. None of this is okay.
Pittsburgh Public Schools website states that ICE requests to access students' information or school grounds must be reviewed by the district's law department and superintendent's office. ICE officials cannot access students without prior legal approval and required documentation.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Cloudy today with rain likely through mid-morning. It's going to be breezy as well with wind gusts as high as 20 miles per hour. We'll see a high near 49. Cloudy tonight will drop down to a low around 27. Sunshine tomorrow, look for a high near 33 and a low around 22. And a slight chance of snow showers through early afternoon on Saturday, followed by a chance of a rain and snow mix. We'll reach a high near 44 and a low around 28. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
That's a look at the news for now. I'm Noah Haswell on 99.3 FM and AM 1230 WBVP, also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
Are you ready? It's time to find out what is on the mind of Eddie Crow. It's something to crow about on Beaver County Radio, 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP. Now, here's the host of the show, Eddie Crow.
I hope you didn't miss the first half hour. It was quite informative. Jack Manning is here because it's Ask the Commissioners. If you've got a question, you can ask them. I got questions too, but if you want to call 724-843-1888, this is being live fed on our Facebook, so you can look at us talk. Jack, the first half hour we talked about the storage situation and the mushroom mines and the Trib building, and ends up you're going to be in the same building we're in, and broke all that down. I don't want that to be the only subject. Let me answer the phone first, and then I know we got more to talk about.
Okay.
Can you hear him? Yep. Headphones? Hi, thank you for calling. What's your question for Jack?
Good morning. First of all, Commissioner Manning, hats off to you, Commissioner, for keeping a lid on all these complicated things that are going on in the county. Number two, by all means, both the yuns, get a time to go up to that mushroom mine and watch what goes on. You will be absolutely amazed. The security, the control up there is amazing. I have a buddy that stores an RV up there, and I've been up there one time to see what goes on. So, but just for curiosity, go up and look. But my question is, the one I ask almost every month is, are we any closer to having a juvenile detention facility to meet the needs of Beaver County? So I'll just kind of hang up and listen.
All right. Are we?
We're no closer to having our own facility.
Are we any farther away just to make us feel better?
No, but we are having access to more local, closer by Pittsburgh area facilities.
Why is that happening, that there's space in other places?
Bringing more, like the Schumann Center in Allegheny County, opened back up. Westmoreland's doing some things. Some other people that had shut down their facilities or bring them back. Now, these are only like 12 units at a time. We're not talking about a huge amount of space, and we're always going to be in competition when we have somebody that the rubric says should be detained physically in a location. We're struggling with that. We do have, for the ones that are in the cause of justice, well, juveniles that are charged as an adult, we do have ample space now for that. We have 2 spots that we've always had at the jail because those folks have to be sequestered. And we do have two young juveniles that are being charged as adult housed in the jail now. But we also have an agreement with Lawrence County that just reopened a part of their jail as a juvenile facility for juveniles being charged as adults. So we're slowly chipping away at some space. It's just such a heavy lift to build, maintain, and staff based on the requirements that the state puts out for these facilities that I think it's going to be very hard for us to justify. It still is one of my top 4 or 5 concerns, for the county on things that are challenges that we have to work out. And the disaffected youth and the juvenile crime is a significant one. There's a big cost to society on that. Every time they feel they can steal a car and joyride it, and your grandmother's car gets stolen out in front of her house and gets wrecked, and then she's got to deal with the aftermath. Can't get that, or the single mom that can't get her kids to school or to practice afterwards. Everybody thinks, it's nobody was hurt. No, it's a huge cost to society. It infuriates us. The police are doing the very best job they can. The hang-up is the state requirements for passing, this rubric, this scoring system that they have, and it reaches a certain number that says they can be detained.
How bad is the kid by number?
Correct.
Okay.
And then when that's determined, you have 6 hours of detention before they have to be in that facility. If you can't find one, they have to be released.
Or if you can't find a way to get them
released with a monitor bracelet, which many times just gets cut off, and they ignore that as well. So it's very, very frustrating.
Is that the number 1 crime in Beaver County, car theft?
I don't have the actual crime statistics and breaks down. That's a good question, Eddie. I don't know, but I'm sure the district attorney would have that breakdown.
What malfeasance are we committing the most?
Yeah. I mean, there's still retail theft. Is still probably number 1. But in terms of the cost of society, there's the cost of business, obviously, with all that retail theft. The car thefts, and particularly the way they transpire, particularly, I think, burdensome on the police and the system.
Think about how much it jacks up your life. You walk out and you got life to do, and the car doesn't start. Just it not working, much less the stress of somebody else having it.
We just hired, actually, he's been on the job his second week, a new warden. We're in the process of hiring a new deputy warden. Warden Bill Shoup, has served the county for 30-some years. He's retiring. He's actually stepped aside. He's working with the new warden through the middle of March to orient him
transition.
To it. And Jason Beeson, he's going to do a great job. He has experience in Erie and Allegheny County, and we were really pleased. We had a great pool of applicants, some great people to choose from, and Jason's good. He's really good, and he was excited to come to Beaver County. He saw our systems, the challenges, the opportunities, but also the support from the county and the public for what they do at the jail. So everything from our MRT, our medically assisted treatment, Suboxone programs, because an awful lot of the 250 plus or minus 25 inmates we have some kind of mental health, substance disease related issues. So being a prison warden has changed substantially from Bill's times with the inmates and the societal problems that we're dealing with. They're there. We are not a healthcare facility, but we are a substitute for the lack of health facilities in the penal system across the Commonwealth. So it presents some challenges. But anyway, in my conversation, I'm head of the prison board, which you may know, and so we were the ones that went through the hiring process, and now we're working on a deputy warden because Ethel White, who has also served the county admirably for many years, will be retiring at the same time Bill is. So we're in the process of hiring a deputy warden. And one of the candidates for that asked the question about pressing issues. And I said, well, it isn't directly related to the jail, but it's tangential to that. And I brought up the juvenile youth detention issue. At one point, we thought maybe we could build a pod. The requirements are that the juvenile can't be in sight or sound of an adult.
Whole B.
Right. So it complicates. It's not like you can just open up a pod in the current jail. We'd have to build something adjacent to the jail and maybe take advantage of the food service and the health service and all those contracts for the jail and not have it located someplace where there's driving distance and that kind of stuff, and the sheriff's department can still come same location. But even building that pod, I mean, we're talking multi-million dollars to build and house and get to standard. So it just at this point it's kind of on hold, and we're just seeing and hoping our juvenile services folks, who again, Charles Rossi and his group do a marvelous job trying to handle the situations they have with what they have to work with. Very, very appreciative of all the work they do. But we keep having the conversations. But right now, especially with the state of the economy, and we've allocated all of our ARPA funds. It's not like we're sitting on a big pool of money or reserves.
So you're not like the Commonwealth and having a rainy day fund anymore.
No, we're not sitting on $6 billion, but we have just enough that we budget every year for emergency purposes, for capital improvements and those kinds of things. We and I'm very proud of this too, Eddie. I mean, hopefully that answered the question that was there. But we gave almost 78 to 80% of that ARPA money back into the county, into the public. It went to municipalities. It went to the stressed communities. It went to public health and safety with buying the radios. It went to broadband for infrastructure improvements and communications. So
it went to helping the people here.
It did. We could have taken almost half of that $92 million ourselves based on the way the law was written. And I can tell you many counties in our area that weren't as financially stable as we are have used that money.
They dug deeper in the well.
Allegheny County and some other folks that are stressed. And I think it's a tribute to how we've been able to manage our finances here. We haven't had to raise taxes. We had the court-mandated reassessment. We went through this whole process, but we were enabled to do that because we had gotten almost $92 million in ARPA money, but we sent most of that, again, about 78%, out into the public for different 31 million went right to municipalities' projects that were qualified there. So with all that being said, we're now at the point where we have to continue to be very diligent, very frugal, and really examine everything that we're spending from here on out. And I don't necessarily see a budget for a detention center that's going to fit into what I know we have in reserves, what we anticipate in tax revenue, without some kind of, this is just me speaking, I'm not speaking on behalf of Dan or Tony, but just my perspective. And those guys have been around longer. They've done bond deals. I haven't refinanced bonds or anything, but it would take a bond deal or a significant tax increase to justify, I think, the
be
cost.
Able to afford.
Yeah.
All right. You said that was one of the things that you're focused on this term. What else are you focused on in this term? Well, no, let me back up. I'm sorry. How big an exhale deep breath is it that the whole storage, trib building, mushroom mine thing has been sorted out? How much of your dinner plate was that taking when you would go to and ask the commissioners or commissioners meeting?
That was big, but I mean, I'm always
juggling
chainsaws. I've always got quite a few things. That was a significant one because it involved so many different departments, so many different elements, and the like. I don't want to get into the details. I mean, one last piece of that storage issue was our hazmat and ESU unit, and I had proposed a long time ago, and it looks like we're exploring that now, a pole building extension, either at the 911 center or where the hazmat garage is. So we've been talking to our EMS and other folks, and it looks like they're keen on the idea of expanding the building that we have there. We can couple another building and double the size of that, which will get a bunch of equipment that's been sitting out, exposed to the weather behind that building. We own enough property that I think we can mark something out. I think it's like 102 feet long by 60 wide, so we could just double that and have 204 feet, 60 wide there. And I think that'll give them ample space for the training, the storage, and different assembly places that they have. I mean, the hazmat unit came out for that fire yesterday in Conway. And that's where they come from with their equipment there in the 911 center. So having a nice central regional location for that stuff is important, and it seems to have worked well. Those hazmat guys, I can't say enough for our emergency management people and their training and qualifications and being on the spot, and then working with the local authorities as well as the state authorities that came in, because I think the DEP is there now. So
I'm going to ask you a question on behalf of a listener that sent it to me in a message.
Okay.
I'm going to try not to giggle as I ask it. Jack Manning, County Commissioner, is with me. He's asked the commissioners. Here's the question.
Okay.
And I'm paraphrasing. Why do we need all this stuff now when we didn't before?
Because we've evolved as a government to serve
we bought
the
more
public.
stuff.
We've always had storage issues. It's just that
they've never
over time it accumulates more.
Okay.
And the other thing is, I mean, you could easily say, well, why?
I just asked the question.
Why do we have an emergency services thing? Well, I can tell you if somebody's boarded up in your house or somebody's suicidal and stuff, I want those guys around.
These are needs
I want
for
those
the county.
guys around. When there's an industrial fire, I want these guys around. We have the finest, well-trained, well-equipped, well-led emergency services and hazmat group in the region. There's a region 13 of 13 counties here in Southwest Pennsylvania, and we're the envy of those folks, and they're very affordable for what they do. We do get a lot of state funding for this stuff. It doesn't all come out of the taxpayers. I mean, we haven't raised taxes since 2017. That's not always such a great thing, but it's an important thing to remember that we're still getting this done with the same amount of revenue from the taxpayers of Beaver County.
How frustrating is it as a legislator that you get asked questions and clearly they had no idea that these things, these entities, these support groups, these infrastructures already existed?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't created any new departments in decades. I mean,
that was how it was phrased. Why do we need this stuff now? Yeah. We never had. This has always been here.
Yeah. I mean, why do we need the courthouse? I mean, yeah.
I loved your answer. What was your answer? Evolution?
Yeah,
evolving?
We've evolved as a society and as a government to meet those society needs. I mean, that's what they are. And I think we do a pretty good job at drawing the line.
What did I not ask you that I should have asked you? Because we've been all over the place, and thank you. Jack Manning, Commissioners, is my guest this hour. What did you want to talk about that didn't come up?
Oh, I don't know. You know me. I'll talk about anything, anytime to anybody on any subject. I'm pretty transparent that way. I am looking forward to tomorrow, the Chamber of Commerce, the annual State of the County.
Thank you for bringing that up. That will live webcast everything here on the station, and it's the annual Mike Romai asking questions of people, and you'll be there and prepped up.
Yep, and I'm very appreciative of the Chamber. You know, I have a long history with them. They do an excellent job. They've changed up the format a little bit this year. I think some of the state reps are going to be there, as well as commissioners. And as always, I look forward to that. It's nice to have a public audience there and asking questions. And again, nothing's off limits to me. You may not like my answer, but I'm going to tell you what I know. And when I don't know something, I'll tell you I don't know that, or I can't do something. Sometimes we get questions that are really at a national and state level that are out of our purview and control.
Does that make you nervous knowing that it's anything could get thrown out. Are you comfortable deflecting the occasional Looney Tunes question?
Oh yeah, no, I get them on a routine basis. It's not, and I, my life's experiences. I've had to deal with answering difficult questions. I've been in difficult situations. I mean, the hard one for me was when I was a plant manager and we had an employee die on site and have to sit in somebody's kitchen with their spouse and talk about death benefits to them, and those are the difficult conversations. And anything that's to do with life and death, I could not do what the coroner does. I could not knock on somebody's door and tell them that their loved one died in a car accident or
a state trooper or
anybody.
Anybody.
Those are the tough questions. Those are the tough questions. Stuff like this about why do we have that stuff? Hey, I get it. People have different perspectives. I respect those opinions. I'm always curious as to why people ask those questions and what's behind that. And that's part of my nature as a problem solver, to ask why several times to get to the root of what's at the question. So you have to kind of do that sometimes before you just jump in and give yes or no answers, or the answer I just gave, without having the interaction with, like, why would you ask that question? Look, what's behind the question?
Where's it coming from?
Yeah, exactly. And what's your concern? So.
Well, thank you for coming in. Thank you for explaining. We're going to be neighbors?
Yes, sir.
Sorta?
Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah. The idea of an evidence locker at church and a radio station just cracks me up.
Yeah, we'll have cookouts on the back porch.
Absolutely.
In no time, yeah.
Well, no, now you're hooked up. All the car shows we got coming up.
I know. Yeah.
I'm going to pay Roman $5 to ask you questions about the car show. Thank you, sir.
Always a pleasure.
You're the best. Jack Manning, been my guest. It's been Ask the Commissioners. The event he was talking about, the State of the County, that happens tomorrow. You can listen to it here. You can watch it on our Facebook feed. Here's the pertinent information regarding. Beaver County Radio and Digital Media are proud to present the all-new Beaver County Chamber of Commerce State of the County this Friday, February 7th from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., live from the Fez in Hopewell. This year, Beaver County Commissioners Jack Manning, Daniel Camp, and Tony Amadeo will be joined by PA State Reps Josh Kale, Roman Kozak, Rob Matsey, and State Senator Elder Bogle to discuss the current state of affairs in Beaver County. Beaver County Radio's Mike Romai will provide live coverage of the annual event on all aspects of Beaver County Radio. This show will also be video streamed live on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. The annual State of the County broadcast is being brought to you by the Pride Transportation Group, Falcone's Moon Township Ford, McGee Heating and Air Conditioning, J. Young Refuse, St. Barnabas Health System, the cornerstone of Beaver County, the Latham team at eXp Realty, the Beaver County Chamber of Commerce, and Beaver County Radio.
Beaver County Transit Authority connects you to where you want to be. The doctor's office or well-deserved shopping spree will take you to wherever you please. Safe, no fuss, leave the driving to us. Hop on, adventures coming your way. Beaver County Transit Authority, BCTA. Ride the bus.
Midland residents, are you looking to travel to Calcutta using public transportation? BCTA Connect is live now. This service is free until March 1st, 2025. Rides can be booked using the convenient BCTA Connect app or by calling our customer service team at 724-375-2895. See how same-day, on-demand trips can help you by riding with BCTA Connect today. Visit our website at www.bcta.com/connect for more information.
When you talk about community involvement and safety, the name Fry stands at the forefront in Beaver County. Fry Transportation's mission is to continue to raise the bar as the gold standard in their industry by providing the safest, most reliable, and cost-efficient transportation service in Beaver County through their strong relationships with their community's best-in-their-class drivers, equipment, and technology. There's nothing more important than the safety of their students, employees, and community members. Fry Transportation, where the quality of their organization is characterized by the makeup of the individual behind the wheel.
We have Art Cornell here from the Beaver Cemetery and Mausoleum. Art, what's new at the cemetery?
We've just completed a new addition to the mausoleum with above-ground burial crypts, indoor and outdoor niches, and family areas. The Beaver Mausoleum advantages include no plot maintenance, the convenience of a heated and air-conditioned building for